couldn't get anything else.
Hmm.
And I reached out to one of the banking contacts that you put us in contact with, and I was able to get her a $75,000 card from Chase. I mean, it was very simple, very easy. Didn't take much effort or work at all. And we actually about to go back to Chase, get another credit card, probably going to be another 75,000. And we're going to go through a couple other banks as well. So by the time it's all said and done, she probably going to be over 200K with 0% credit cards alone.
Mm. Wow. So you said 75,000 on one credit card, and that's 0% interest.
Yeah, that is 0% for 12 months. I got 10% commission off of that, so that was of course a quick and easy 7,500 for
Hmm.
me.
Are we gonna get straight into it? I got a special guest today, Bryan. He's one of the students in the 10K mentorship. I just wanted to bring him on here, speak about his experience, where he started, just so y'all can have a real insight. Welcome to the channel, Bryan. How you doing?
What's going on, bro? I'm good. I'm good.
Good, good, blessed, man. How's your week been going?
Oh, week been crazy. But it's been good though.
That's good. So, can you just tell the people a little bit about what you do? Obviously, in the program, we teach many things. We teach the credit repair, we teach the funding, we teach multiple things, but let's just talk about your specific focus.
Well, like most people, I got started out on the credit repair side. I've been doing credit repair. Um, it's like in the double digits of years now. I can't even remember. Transitioned into doing litigation, done a lot of litigation
Hmm.
and funding. So, like I said, I got my start in credit repair, started helping consumers out on the litigation side, then I got into funding. I like funding because to me, you get to see the results a lot quicker and
Yeah,
you're helping people just as much. So it's just as much gratitude and it's just as much work. It's not necessarily that it's any easier. It's just, I like doing that a little bit more.
definitely. Okay, definitely.
Mhm.
Let's talk about how did you even find me? How do we get in contact?
Hey, shoot. Well, I was in what was it, the first or second mastermind that you had rolled out?
I
And
did.
then
It was the first version of the mentorship, maybe. I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah,
Like,
I was in that. That was like great. And then when you rolled this out, and you had all of the improvements and everything, and all of the new curriculum and content, I'm like, okay, well, I need to take things to the next level. Beside the fact that I've known you, we had several personal conversations. I mean, you already know. I done told you several times you are the realest in the game, my brother. With definitely what your teachings and what you put out and the community that you put together. And I'm really starting to get the grasp of how important the community is as well
yeah.
as the facilitator of the community. So, if you're not a part of a community of people that are just as successful or at least doing something, to me, I think you probably should find another place. So that's the thing I like about your community. Not only are you a great teacher at what you teach us and what you put together, the community is just as great.
Definitely. Definitely. No, I definitely appreciate that. So a lot of people watch me on YouTube. They might see this on IG. They might see it on YouTube. They
Mhm.
have like these concerns. The economy is weird. People be scamming and all of that. I guess, granted, even though we kind of knew each other from a little bit of past personal stuff, what made you specifically decide to join the 10K program?
Um, the 10K program, man, is I guess you could call it a business in a box. The 10K program is something with the resources alone, it takes very little effort to make a lot more than 10K. I mean, just the banking relationships alone
Hmm.
before you even implement anything. You can go out and get your 10K back just by getting one person funded with just the banking relationships alone. And, I didn't even know that was a part of it because if you
Oh
remember,
yeah.
I came in. for the new curriculum, a lot of the new ways you were doing with litigation, because both of us kind of, I guess we kind of had the same epiphany. We can get to the same place on the litigation side
Yeah.
without necessarily going through the federal district court, you know, as long as you structure everything. So I was coming in for that. I was coming in for the marketing.
Mhm.
And I did not know that those funding resources was going to be in there. I did not know that those banking relationships was a part of it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's you're going to get a lot more than what you spend. Like I've made a lot more than 10K.
Mm.
You know, just off the resources,
Mm.
not even the content or the teaching, just off the resources.
Mm.
And to me, that was what do you say? Under promise and over delivering. That's a true example of that right there.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when you were laughing at me when I realized that stuff was in
Yeah. I was
there,
it. I think
when
it was
you
during
showed
the
it to me the other
onboarding.
day.
During the onboarding call.
Yeah, and I didn't even know what it was. You over there laughing like, yeah, man, I gave you that. I'm like, for real? I'm about
Yeah.
to make some money.
Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely. All right. Let's
Yeah.
focus on that. So you're talking about, the funding resources I give to the
hmm
students in there. What
And
kind of
it's not, and I want to be specific when we say resources. Those are connections to
definitely.
actual bank managers. Okay, so when I say resource, he's actually connecting us with the actual shot callers at the banks, or over at Chase, couple other banks.
Mm-hmm.
Mike has connected me with some other bankers in my area, to help me out on a local level and not just a national level. So that itself, you really can't put a dollar amount on those type of relationships.
Definitely, definitely. So you contacted me. You did something with Chase. I want to talk
hmm
about it. Let's break it down. That's one of the resources that you got through getting in
hmm
the 10K program. Can you just walk the
hmm
audience through what you did?
Yeah, I got a real estate investing client down in Florida who's doing all types of deals, doing some flips, doing some creative deals. And she tried to get funded. She was able to get actually she was able to get 100 grand on her own, but then she kind of got tapped out. She was going to places, couldn't get anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I reached out to one of the banking contacts that you put us in contact with, and I was able to get her a $75,000 card from Chase. I mean, it was very simple, very easy. Didn't take much effort or work at all. And we actually about to go back to Chase, get another credit card, probably going to be another 75,000. And we're going to go through a couple other banks as well. So by the time it's all said and done, she probably going to be over 200K with 0% credit cards alone.
Mm. Wow. So you said 75,000 on one credit card, and that's 0% interest.
Yeah, that is 0% for 12 months. I got 10% commission off of that, so that was of course a quick and easy 7,500 for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. So obviously, people that are watching, it's very possible you could have done that without joining the program. But would you say that
hmm
joining the program was a reason that led you to do that?
Yeah, definitely because um, again, it's about the connections
Mm-hmm.
and networking.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, that's going to be more valuable than maybe a lot of the content or what you're going to be learning. Because
Yeah.
some of these relationships, you don't know where they're going to take you to.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said a little while ago, you really can't even put a dollar amount on the price of some of those relationships or contacts. When you can pick up the phone and call somebody and you can bypass the algorithm or you can bypass that automated computer process and get a real live person from the beginning, somebody that can go straight to the underwriter. That's serious. That's a big deal. That's a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened. We had a straight plug. We had a plug straight to the underwriter by way of the relationship manager.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, That's the problem why people are getting denied and they don't know why. They're getting caught up in that algorithmic clog of the I's and the O's not lining up, and there's no human intervention there. And a lot of times it's not even anything major. It's something very, very minor. I mean, it can even be something on the verification side of your address.
Yeah.
Another big reason why people are getting denied because of identity verification. And the thing doesn't even get to the part where it's looking at your credit. And that's another reason why I see a lot of people, with great credit, high 700s, even in the 800s, and they're coming back getting denied. I'm
Mhm.
like, well, tell me about the process. Well, I applied online.
Oh.
Okay, a lot of times that's the problem. A lot of times that automated process, and that algorithm, that's the problem a lot of times. And, when we talk to the relationship managers, they're explaining just that. And they're actually telling us that's how a lot of people end up getting denied. So my client that we took through Chase, she actually got denied.
Hmm.
And again, she didn't listen. I had given her some advice, and I told her, even though I knew her credit was great, I knew her income was solid. I still knew that she wasn't going to be happy with what she got going through that automated process. They actually even sent her a pre-approval in the mail.
Mm.
And despite the fact that she got that pre-approval, they gave her a denial. They didn't even offer anything. They just gave her a straight up denial. And that's another thing. A lot of people think just because they get those pre-approval notices in the mail, there's going to be automatic funding, and it's not because you're still going through that same process. It's
Right.
not giving you any type of special privileges. It's just a marketing employee.
Mhm.
So you're going through the same process.
Mhm.
And so she came back and she told me that she had got denied. And I said, well, I explained to you not to apply because I had a feeling that this was going to happen.
Mm.
Now we got to wait. I said, because we got to get rid of this inquiry. You know, that's going to take us, maybe a couple weeks, maybe even, 30 days, depending on how fast they want to move.
Mhm.
Um, then we had to wait for the time cycle to reapply with the Chase rep.
Mhm.
So altogether, she extended the process at least 2, 3 weeks just by not following the advice, but she was happy in the end.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean that's definitely what matters most. And you
Mhm.
said that she's is it real estate?
She's a real estate investor,
Oh,
really, really successful real estate investor. And
okay.
and like I said, she was able to raise 100K in unsecured funding by herself.
Yeah,
And but things are always changing. And,
definitely.
that's one of the good things about us in this community and being hooked up with you is we get this information close to real time
Hmm.
whenever something's changing.
Hmm.
And everybody knows what's been going on in the economy. Economy has kind of been unstable. We got like crazy things going on in the political landscape, and all of that's affecting what's going on in banking.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of our clients and a lot of consumers are finally starting to realize that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay,
Yeah.
so she was in that lane. Just for the
Hmm.
viewers that are watching, some might be just regular business owners. They're looking at it like, oh, I want to get my own 75K at 0% interest. Are you working
Hmm.
specifically with just real estate people, like any business? What does that look like?
You know, um, it just happened to be a niche that found me. I mean, I'm a real estate investor. I've done seven figures in flips.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, I guess I can just speak their language, and or something like that. But I don't just specifically look to work with real estate investors, even though that's kind of the niche I fell into. Um, but I don't mind working with any type of business owner. As long as you got a business, as long as you're serious and you're really motivated, I'm going to work with you. I'm going to help you.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And then one thing too, I don't know if people listening, maybe it went over their head. One thing we got to mention too is that Grazia, the client, it wasn't like she was a new business. She was already making money within,
Hmm.
correct?
Yeah, yeah, but that didn't really play a part in it because we didn't provide any documentation.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't provide any bank statements. We didn't provide any tax returns. So whether you had a new business, a sole proprietor, or anything, we would have been able to do the same thing because it was about the banking relationships and it wasn't about the business. You know, this client, their credit met. the criteria. I mean, it more than met what the minimum credit criteria was.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the only thing that she needed to bring, and the relationship manager did the rest.
Okay, good.
So it didn't even really matter about the business because, and
Yeah.
that's the other thing because, never would I outright advise a client to try to get a real estate business funded because it's high risk.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst things that you can do. And that kind of started to come back and hurt her because that's the main reason I believe another reason she started getting denied because once things started changing in the financial landscape and the banks started tightening up, I think they started looking at that stuff more. And, I explained to her, it's like, well, you're in a very high risk industry. You're in one of the worst industries to go after for funding.
Yeah.
And I explained to her, well, we may have to maybe do a name change. We may have to amend the articles. We're definitely going to have to change the NAICS codes to
Yeah.
describe what your business does. And I said, we're going to have to go at it that way if you're not going to wait to go through the relationship manager. So we will have to do a complete restructuring of
Mhm.
what the business looks like on paper. Never mind what you do on the back end, but we have to change, the landscape of the business on paper to make it look more appealing and safe to the banks.
Definitely. And that's a thing too. When I'm talking with clients as well, they think like, okay,
Yeah, it's
just,
a foreign language. A
yeah,
lot of them never heard it.
yeah, like oh, I could just do it all myself and this and that. But it's like business owners understand an investment, like your client Grazi, like my clients that we
Hmm.
get funding, they understand that okay, I'm a busy business owner. Let me just get with the expert. I'm gonna pay them their 10% and go forward. She got 75K 0% interest on one credit card. 10%, 7,500. You're still leaving with so much net versus you go online, you get a 10, 20K limit. You don't got as much as, you know what I'm saying? The net that you
Hmm.
got going through an expert like yourself. So I think that's definitely
Hmm.
important. And one thing too, like a lot of people that watch the channel, they see people that are in the 10K program. I think it's important that we emphasize that you weren't just starting brand new because people just
No,
think,
it was not.
yeah. So people just think like business is just like, oh, it's just like that. You've been doing it for some time as well. But I want to also ask you, because the students in the 10K program, they have the same connections, they have the same everything. You came and you got results pretty quickly. What do you think it was that made you?
Well, one thing I want to say, Mike, regardless of how long I've been doing this, the way that you got this set up is if I didn't have any experience and I came in, just learned about funding yesterday,
Mhm.
it's no telling how much I can make tomorrow or the next week as long as I got somebody that meets the minimum threshold to get funded because of those relationships. So just because I've been doing this, as long as I've been doing credit repair almost 20 years. I've definitely haven't been doing funding as long. I've been doing funding at least 10 years,
Mhm.
but I didn't need any of that to make your program work
Mhm.
because what I did not have was that particular relationship. I
Mhm.
needed that particular relationship.
Mhm.
And, the other thing, what it did was, now after that, I went out and got several other relationships. So now, I got PNC,
Mhm.
I got a couple other regional banks, I got some local banks in
Yeah.
my area that are actually willing to fund on a national level. And that's another thing, that I want to talk about briefly.
Yeah.
A lot of your local banks will actually fund on a national level, so do some due diligence. I want to talk to the people that's looking at this. Get out there. Do some due diligence. Go talk to your local banks because if you're going to get into funding, some of these local banks will fund your clients no matter where they are, and they don't advertise that. But back to the point that I was saying, you know, that experience. I don't feel like that experience had anything to do with the success that I got from your program because I didn't have that relationship. And I got that relationship through your program. And when I got that one, that kind of motivated me to go out and do the work to get the other ones,
Yeah.
which you talk about. You have resources as well for us to go out and get other relationships. And I started to implement that.
Mhm.
And I think I got close to 10 relationship bankers now that I went out and got.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, I want to say that was all in the last week.
Okay, dope. So how much, okay, let's focus on that. So you got like about 10 as a result of being in the program. How many relationship managers did you have like prior to joining?
Prior to joining, I didn't have any. I just knew what specific. I had a set criteria where I would take people, and
Gotcha.
I had the data points dialed in.
Yeah,
I had the data points dialed in so good that I could look at a credit report and I knew the application so well, I could almost, dictate what I was going to get my client just by knowing the data points.
gotcha.
And pretty much I want to say early in the funding game, that's how we were doing it before relationship managers became a thing, or before relationship managers became a widespread thing.
Yeah.
We would just really have to study the data points. So
Mhm.
I was doing okay, but now I'm doing great
Gotcha. Okay. Not as,
because yeah, and because and that's another thing I want to talk about. Just knowing the data points don't do it anymore.
mm,
You gotta have that relationship.
yeah,
Right now, funding is about relationships. You
definitely.
need the data points. The data points going to get you somewhere between 3 and 10 grand.
Definitely.
The relationships is what's going to get you 20 to 100.
75, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, no,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely. All right. So you said you was doing credit repair funding.
Hmm.
Emphasize
Hmm.
in the program, like focus more on the funding aspect as well. What made you want to be like, okay, let me just focus, let me lean more towards funding? I think it's a pretty simple question, but you know.
Okay, well, it took me a while to identify the type of client that I want to work with. And that's another thing that you stress with me a lot.
We talked about it a
That
lot. So yeah.
Yeah, because I would take anybody that needed help. I was like the Red Cross of credit repair. You know, if you was damaged or injured, I
Yeah.
was gonna fix your credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the biggest headache. So I guess that was kind of self-inflicted. Me wanting to help people because ultimately, if you remember my story, that's what got me in credit repair.
Mhm.
Because I couldn't find a legitimate, reputable person to help me when I went through my financial hardship. So I had to learn,
Yeah.
and I got burned out quick, and it took me a long time to learn from that because I guess I just embraced that struggle as being part of the business when it was not part of business at all.
Mhm.
I was doing business with a lot of the wrong people, and that's another reason why I prefer funding because I want to make something clear as well. I've never had a funding client that did not need some form of credit repair, but
Mhm.
I've never done more than one round of credit repair. So I've never gone beyond 30 days, of working on anybody's credit that need credit repair because when you're dealing with a legitimate business owner, they got a different type of mindset.
Yeah.
They got some sort of fiscal responsibility that the average person doesn't have. The average person doesn't get that mindset until they start to get kind of damaged.
Mhm.
And I'm not even gonna say it's an average person. It's a person of a higher level of intelligence
Yeah. That-
because a lot of my clients was getting damaged, man. They wasn't getting it. They go get damaged. I fix their credit, get them some money, and they will come back to me worse off than what they were before.
yeah.
After I fix their credit and get them funded. That's when I learned again that I was putting people in a bad situation by getting everybody funded.
Mhm.
So I realized I had to change things up that way. So I preferred only dealing with business owners again because of the mindset. One, they're easy to work with because they already have things. They may not have all the organization in the world, but they got some organization. They can meet me halfway or they can meet me three-quarters of the way. I'm not doing everything for them,
Mhm.
so it's a better client. It's a different type of mindset, and it's a different goal that they're working towards. And that's pretty much why I prefer funding.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I know before you did get in the program, you were in our monthly university, which is called
Hmm.
Credit University, which some people on the channel may know.
Hmm.
Someone might be watching, maybe they're struggling credit repair business owner, maybe they're not struggling, maybe they're looking to start the business. So you being in both environments, you spoke about environment earlier. What would you say is the main difference that you notice between it's a $39 a month university right now versus a 10K program environment?
There was great people in both,
Yeah.
to be totally honest. Like there was great people in both, and I noticed that early on. The
Mm-hmm.
level of ambition that a lot of folks had. So you still was attracting some good people. But now people are operating on a much higher level. It's like, a lot of us was trying to figure out a lot of things
Mm-hmm.
in the lower price program. This program, they figured it out and they're operating on a much higher level. So when you get around those type of people, and hopefully you got the right mindset in that community where you're not looking at somebody's success and it's making you feel some kind of way other than motivated, because that's what it did to me.
Definitely.
It motivated me. And the biggest thing that you keep talking about was how we don't network with each other enough. And that's the biggest difference is you're in there with people on a much higher level. They're executing on a different level. They
Mm-hmm.
got a different type of drive. And when you're around that type of energy, that energy is gonna rub off on you.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a hard time getting started and you're in this community, you need to tap into that community and maybe read some of the comments. And that really can change the way that your day is gonna go, or it could change the trajectory of how your day is already going,
Mm-hmm.
to get a dose of that energy to change like how you're feeling, or if you got a stopgap, or if you're stuck. That that program is full of high level operators.
Mm. That's a good way to describe it. Yeah, no, definitely.
That's the only way I know how to describe
Yeah,
it.
no, definitely. That's a good answer. So I guess as far as for people that are watching, the way that the program's structured, when you do come in, I do a one-on-one call with you just to dial in your marketing, and you have to go through a God made marketing. I know you went through that. You told me briefly on our call, it made you like really think. Can you elaborate a little bit on it and the importance of it? I guess just distinguishing your specific client that you want to deal with. I guess how you felt.
Well, yeah, again, because I kind of touched on it, but I can definitely reiterate it. That was one of that the God the premise of God made marketing. This is what I got from it. Is what you have been drilling into me a bunch of times before I got into the high ticket
Yeah.
program. God made marketing really emphasizes the fact that everybody is not your client. And if you think that you're going to be doing somebody a favor by lowering your prices, you are devaluing yourself. It's
Mm,
not that you're not helping this individual. If you can't help yourself first, you can't help anybody else first. Like you be on a plane and they tell you put your own mask on first before you put on somebody else's. You have to take that same approach,
mhm,
because if someone can't fit the criteria of your service, maybe you're not the person that's meant to service them. And God made marketing really talks about that. And that was one of the biggest problems that I had, was I was taking on a lot of the wrong clients.
mm,
And the minute that I embraced a different change of mind, and a different mindset about who I wanted to do business with and who I needed to do business with, it's like the people started finding me. It's like, I can't remember the phrase, but it's like, that energy that you start emitting, and it starts attracting other things. Like if you walk around in a negative mindset, then maybe you might get in a bunch of conflicts. Maybe you might get in a bunch of fights, and people always trying to mess with you. You might not even be saying anything. You why am I getting these conflicts? It's because you're walking around with all this negative energy, and that's what you're emitting. And when you go through God made marketing, it kind of reprograms you to look at your service, look at your value, and those are the type of people that you want to work with. And honestly, man, you know, I didn't have to reach out to a lot of people. The minute I changed my mindset, it's like a lot of them people started to come and find me,
yeah.
through existing relationships or
Mm,
opportunities that just happen to have happened. And maybe you may not believe in that. So I ain't talking about you, but the people is maybe going to be looking at this if you don't believe in that type of thing, I can tell you that it's true. Your mindset that you have emits a frequency and an energy, and that dictates what's going to come back to you. And so that's what God made marketing really, really help me with, was it really, because it's like you kept telling me a bunch of times. But
Definitely.
then when I went through God made marketing, it really drove it home and drove it in. And I'm still not even done with it. I went through the part that we were supposed to go through, and I'm gonna go through the other videos again
Hmm.
before I finish it.
Yeah. And that's the thing I want people to realize too. It's like a journey that you continue working on. And I think I even said it
Yeah.
as well. Because I go back to it sometimes too when I need to, get my mind right too, as far as what we're doing within our business. So
Hmm.
it's just continuing to do that work, putting yourself in the environment of those like-minded individuals, like you were mentioning as well. So I guess as far as your business, what would you say is next for you? As far as, are you going to continue funding clients? What does that look like?
I'm definitely gonna continue funding clients. What my new focus is, my new focus is on building relationships.
Okay.
I would say my
Bank,
focus is
like
more
with
on
a
build.
bank or people, or what do you mean by that?
Say again.
You say your focus is building relationships. You mean like with the banks, specific people?
Yes, yeah, yes. With different lenders,
Gotcha.
different banks, and it may sound crazy, but my focus is really more on that than getting clients right now.
Mm,
Because I want to have those resources in place, because I actually, just came across these people that need big funding, like multiple six figures,
hmm
and they're getting denied. These are people that make hundreds of thousands of dollars
hmm
of revenue from their businesses, and they getting denied funding.
Yeah.
My client, she was showing six figure profits,
hmm
and she was getting denied. So everybody needs help, but people, I guess they don't think about folks that are generating multiple six figures of income as them even needing money. Those people need more money than anybody else because they're operating on such a large scale. They
Yeah.
always need something that needs to be funded. They always have some sort of expansion they're doing. They always have a new idea that they're trying to get off the ground. And I've got another guy who's in the real estate space. He's not a real estate investor, but he services real estate. He owns a software company, SaaS, for real estate investors, one of the largest softwares out there. I'm not going to mention the name, but, I was surprised to hear his story about how he's having a hard time getting funded. And at the time when we talked, he was making 300 grand a month off the software business,
Mm,
having a hard time getting funded
that's crazy.
because of one of those data points we mentioned,
Yeah.
because of one of those data points. So, sometimes it's not even about your revenue or the money that you make. They're denying him because of a data point.
hmm That's
And
huge.
so, no, because I know people like that, it really made me want to change my focus, because what my goal is to get into high level funding. I'm hooked up with a few coaches to sell high ticket masterminds and mentorships.
Hmm.
And I'm the go-to person for some of them, for some of their funding.
That's good.
I never even thought about that. I didn't, and this is what I'm talking about, was when I changed my mindset, these type of opportunities started to find me, and
Hmm
they started to come to me.
hmm
I wouldn't have known about stuff like that. I wouldn't even now, even though I got these people and I'm funding their clients, I wouldn't even know how to approach them and pitch them with this.
mm
So ultimately, my goal is to even not continue to fund just any type of business owner, but I want to get to those high level business owners,
mm
those people that need that 200K and up,
hmm
because I know them and I know their story, and I see the problem that they're having with getting funded,
Yeah.
because they don't have all the data points in order.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean,
Mhm.
that's definitely huge what you're talking about, because a lot of times we think it's just people that's just starting in business. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you're watching this, the YouTube algorithm brought you, you're looking for funding, maybe you make a couple million a year, you're having the problems to get funding. I'm gonna leave Bryan's information below. You heard he's already established like 10 connections with different bank relationships, so he definitely be able to get you right. You obviously know the structure as far as how to get people to funding. People are getting denied for a reason because they don't know the information that we know and how to
Yeah.
structure these. So it's definitely important. God willing, I put out these videos so that it can get to the right person. So hopefully someone watching can connect with you as far as what you're doing. Let's talk to the credit repair business owner that's, I guess, stubborn. They're just like, I got over 2,000 videos. They keep watching the videos. They're seeing all the students and everything. They're like, okay, maybe he's paying these people to hop on here and, speak about this. What would you tell them as far as their business? They're feeling stuck. They're feeling stuck with these credit repair clients that aren't paying and things like that. What would you tell them as far as if they should join
Well,
or not?
they definitely need to join because, I'm gonna come at it from a different angle.
Okay.
Because I've been in credit repair for so long, I tell people credit repair died in 2014.
Wow.
Yeah, and I can be that specific because that's when the industry changed. We credit repair. We saw the biggest change in compliance in 2014. It was that serious. That was a record year. That was one of the busiest years for the CFPB. That's when they really started to ramp up enforcement because I don't know, maybe they just had a beef with Obama or something like that. That's when they made a substantial change and never turned back with violating people's rights,
Mhm.
not properly being in compliance. And the biggest problem that people are having, credit repair business owners, is they're not equipped with the proper tactics.
Mm.
That's their biggest problem. The biggest problem is them not being able to properly service their clients. So just because I do funding doesn't mean I don't do everything else. I've beat the credit bureaus in court
Yeah.
a bunch of times. I've stopped lawsuits. I've stopped quite a few lawsuits for my clients. I've done a lot of litigation for my clients. So I do all of that stuff too. But if you're in credit repair, you really need to be a part of this community as well because it's going to equip you for everything that you need in your business, and it's going to also equip you for some of the things that you ain't even come up against yet. It's
Mhm.
going to prepare you for when you get there. If your person is just doing dispute letters, then you're doing your client a great disservice because they're not going to work.
Yeah.
Just sending out letters isn't going to work. The only reason to send out letters is to establish your case and to get the process started, to get the litigation process started. If you're not doing some form of litigation and you in credit repair, I don't even know what you're in because you're clearly not doing it the right way. You're doing it the old way that don't even work anymore.
Yeah.
And at this point, you are the scam because you're not helping anybody. You're just taking somebody's money with no real way to get them out of that situation or turn that situation around.
Hmm.
So joining this program, all of that's a part of the curriculum. Um, the FDCPA, the FCRA, litigation under both, several different types of litigation tactics
Yeah.
from A to B, very easy to understand, even different forms. District court, when we say district court, that we're referring to federal court.
Hmm.
That's where you have to sue for FCRA and FDCPA. You can sue on small claims. That's in the curriculum as well, because sometimes it's easier just to get the conversation started. And you don't really have to go through all of the formal process. So this is all of the things that Mike has laid out and put in there. Arbitration. I mean, if you've never heard of arbitration or you just hearing about arbitration, there's arbitration tactics. And arbitration don't just work against the bureaus. So he has that in there for litigation against the CRAs. But you can use once you learn that, you can use that against any creditor that has a arbitration clause in their terms of service. You know, So, you know, if you're not looking for funding, if you're not looking to get into funding and you just do credit repair, this is still the place that you need to be.
Definitely. I couldn't have said it better myself. I guess just to close out, you got any last minute things you want to tell the people?
Oh, I think I didn't cover it all, man. I mean, that was a lot right there. You know, you can reach out to me on IG at B Winston 17. That's the letter B. Winston is Winston 17. YouTube channel's going up. So it's gonna be my name, Bryan Winston. That's Bryan Winston Winston. Hit me up for your funding needs. But like I said, I also do credit repair, all that other stuff. You know, you're getting sued, I can help you with that. You need to sue somebody to fix your credit, I can help you with that. You know, so hey, that's it.
All right, I'm gonna leave all that information below. Well, I'm gonna have the team do it. With that being said, y'all have a blessed one.